And Imus got the boot for crossing the line. Did rapper Cam'ron cross the same line when he told 60 Minutes that he would not turn in a murderer because helping the police on any level would hurt his record sales?
At the type of business I'm in, it would definitely hurt my business. And the way that I was raised, I just don't do that. I was raised differently, not to tell.
So should his record label, in this case Asylum, a division of Warner Music, give Cam'ron the boot? Well, Charles Payne says you bet. But rapper M1 of Dead Prez says that is just the culture of rap. M1, to you first. So no firing.
Of course not. It's not even an issue. And I think when we're talking about who's elected as the leadership of our community and why we're able to speak, especially if you're upholding the codes, there's no way you got to go.
What codes you talking about?
The code to the street. It's a code elected by our community who swears by this as our government. And
I disagree with you. I think there's a whole lot of people on the streets and in black neighborhoods who are suffering. You know, you got the vultures ruling because no one wants to squeal on them. You know, murderers and drug dealers, and the people, the children, the women, the elderly, they're walking around in fear. So it's not their code, but they just have to live with it.
I disagree totally. The fear that we walk around is totally involved in the war that's created in our community, the war on drugs. It's not our community. It's the war on terror, the war on poverty that really has this blue steel ring around our community that creates this atmosphere of fear. We're not the criminals, and we really.
But we're allowing the criminals to exist with us. I don't understand how we can't say we want society, white America, to help us, and at the same time we're not going to do anything to help ourselves.
Here's the issue. You know, when you're talking about who gets murdered in our community, you can bring up the names of Sean Bell. You can bring up the names of Antoine Cedric.
Right.
You can these names. These are this is why we say no snitching, because we know that the policy of the police is not to protect us.
There are thousands of blacks. Thousands who have been murdered by other blacks, particularly in a drug game.
Right.
They're not famous. They weren't shot 50 times by the police. That was an awful situation. That makes the headlines. But those murders don't make the headlines. At this moment, some kid's going to get pushed off a building in Brooklyn because he messed up on an order. And that's what we have to try to eradicate from our
The kid getting pushed off the building is nowhere near as criminal as the guy who let it in the country to begin with. It's the guys who are wearing white collars just like you. This part and parcel to the same thing. This illegal drug economy was pushed into our community this way. You can't make the drug dealers the criminals.
Of course they're the criminals. Are you kidding me?
How did it get here?
It doesn't matter how it got here. Is someone making them sell it?
No.
Is someone making someone buy it?
Of course, that we are under duress, complete duress, when you talk about employment in our community. You talk about the economic process that goes on.
Well, let's talk about the economics of your business. You're very, very popular, and your fans love you. And I think what partly you're saying, Emma, is you don't want to tick off those fans who look at talking to police as essentially being a traitor. So how much of this is just that you just want to keep them buying your CDs?
Well, for me, hip-hop is much more than a job. As a matter of fact, you know, it is only...
M1, you're a rich man because of that job, and your fans are loyal to you. So if they knew that you supported occasionally talking to the police, you'd be screwed, right?
I think it's misinformation. I'm not rich. I'm rich because of the support of the people. I'm not rich and wealthy in numbers and money, and the sales that we're
what I hear.
You're right. Say again.
That's not what I hear. You're doing okay. But no, Charles, you don't think that it's a matter of being insulting to the black community. Quite the contrary. If you try to deal with this, it's going to help the black community.
Absolutely. Listen, I understand not snitching. Nobody likes a tattletale, but it gets to a point where someone's destroying the community they live in. You know, a minute ago, M said I was like people with white collars are the bad guys. That's what you get in the black community. If you watch movies that are directed by black people, and it's the lawyer and the attorneys and the corporate guys who are always the bad guys, and it's the guy selling drugs who's the good guy.
But we don't have to watch the movies. We don't have to watch the movies. We know who Noriega is, the relationship. We know what created Freeway Ricky Ross, which is only an imitation by the real Ricky Ross in music.
What I'm saying, at the end of the day,
people who are made by this U.S. government.
If we are going to come out of this, don't we have to do it ourselves?
Of course, it's about community control. Now, does that mean that we invite the police in to beat us up and divide our community?
Not to beat us up, but if someone's beating me up, who's going to take them off me? If you're not going to take them off me, help the police.
Our community does it all the time. We have Cop Watch. We have police patrols. We have anti-police brutality campaigns that help to bring down the tension in our community and help us resolve our issues among ourselves, because we know with the help of the police, the only thing we've ever gotten was murder, terrorism, and brutality.
By just letting crime go on, too, it hasn't helped anything.
Well, by
worshiping drug dealers and pimps and pushers, it hasn't gotten us anywhere.
But bottom line, if you knew of a murder committed in your building and you knew who did it, you would not snitch. You'd not say it.
I think it's code. It's the code. Not only is it a code to our culture not to snitch, but it's our code to resurrect our community by ourselves, for ourselves.
Guys, I want to thank you both very, very much. You can start hitting each other after the break. All right, as Virginia Tech students